All right, hello traders. It is Wednesday, 9/11/2024. Welcome, and let's go through a bunch of stuff tonight. So I didn't have a chance to do anything last night post-wise. We had a good day yesterday in the market. We had another really good day today. So I want to catch up, show you some trades. I'm going to cover some of the trades I just put on with you. So I'm going to give you some trade ideas in here. Let's take a quick look at the markets, and then we'll take a quick look at credit spreads today. So we've been adding a lot more credit spreads in. No, I'm not replacing the current plan. We're not changing from 111s and 112s to credit spreads. Not going to do any of that stuff. However, I do use credit spreads as a spec trade. So I want to cover that with you a little bit more because we've had a good handful on, and we've been really making some great money on credit spreads recently. So we still have the core trades, the 1-1X trades, the bear trap trades, whether it's a 111, 112, still using those. Fantastic. Yes, we've got some hedges in place as we've done. We're also doing strangles, added more strangle trades yesterday, today. So we're adding some strangles back in because we've had a couple come off. And then we're also doing a handful of other trades in there. We've got some naked puts, some 111s, some 112s, and we've also got credit spreads. And I want to go through my credit spread strategy with you. We're going to try to do all this in just 20 minutes, try to make it quick for you and hopefully educational. Stay with me. Let's take a look at that. So let's get into what happened today in the markets. So taking a quick look at the ES, huge down day at the open this morning. I mean, it was crazy. If we looked at, in fact, let's just take a quick look at the day trading. Now, we did day trade today as well for a 0 DTE winner. So I want to cover that with you guys as well. So I'll show you what we saw, what I saw, why I closed that. So we had a 0 DTE winner today. We also had one yesterday, and I didn't post last night because I was busy, but certainly it was a pretty good trade. All right, so let's get in and let's take a look at what happened on the session today. So here's the, I know this looks crazy, and it's okay that you can't really see everything that's on here, but I mean, take a look at the open today. We'll look here first on the left-hand side, which is the 15-minute chart, which is a little bit easier to see. I mean, markets opened, down we go. I mean, just down and down and down. I mean, these are big down sessions and decent volume overall. CPI came out this morning, really didn't do a whole lot of anything. It was pretty much in line with expectations, but down we went today. But what I felt was, as we were falling and watching this, we were waiting for the turn. And really what I was looking for was right around 10:30 this morning. So if we get into here, I don't know if I can spread this out enough for you guys to figure it out. Always want to take a quick, why is my time always off with this thing? So let's take a quick look at the time frames on this. So these times are not correct. Okay, but this morning, as we were heading lower and lower and lower, now I think it's got like UTC on here, so I don't know if I can change the time frame. Okay, I know I can do it on my other chart. Why does it keep resetting? I'm not in Caracas, so hang on. Same time zone as Caracas, but let's get into it. Sorry about that. All right, so we were heading lower, 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 lower. Right about 10:30 here, we saw in the markets an opportunity to start to get long. So at 10:30 in the morning, I started to see the MACD starting to flip over positive. You can see right here about 10:30 here. We were almost at these lows of the day. MACD starting to roll. It started to really curve up here at 10:30 on the daily. We were oversold, so I thought it was a good opportunity. We're getting great credit, so we jumped in with a 0 DTE put credit spread right at 10:31. And we managed to book a 50% winner on that in 37 minutes. So 37 minutes, and we were out of that trade at 11:06. Okay, right back here. So it didn't take much. So good 0 DTE trade today. We did one yesterday. We did a call spread yesterday, and we hit a 50% winner. So two more 0 DTE winners the last two sessions. Yesterday as well, we managed to close a ZB bonds put spread. So another put credit spread closed yesterday. And then we also closed the naked puts of an XL 112 trade that we had sitting on that we used as a replacement 112 trade for us. So we booked that yesterday for a little over almost $3,000. So yesterday, great day, booked over 4,400 or some odd dollars. Yesterday, today, 0 DTE winner. And then we took off a covered call today as well to let the underlying run a bit. But man, look at this V down, V back up. We were back to, by 1 o'clock today, we were back to scratch. And then we never looked back. We just kept heading higher and higher and higher. And then in the last, I don't know, 30 minutes of trading here, we really got cranking on the volume to the upside. So a big volume move to the upside at the end here of the day. So really nice to see. Great volume, huge spike at the end of the day today. So that was something to see. Typically, we see that again, end of the day, big spikes, but nice upward movement today. So crazy day. We happen to time the 0 DTE, right? Market goes down, market goes up, just high volatility. We're in that kind of a time period here. Let's get back and take a quick look because I want to keep this rolling for you guys. But if we're looking at the E-minis, I like what we're seeing here on the not only the weekly and the daily charts. I know there's a lot of lines. Hold your comments about the spaghetti and too many lines on the screen. I get it. We were doing a session today with a lot of our members, and I was really working through the anchored VWAP that I use. So if you anchor the VWAP here, back here on August 5th, okay, that's exactly where we broke it, bounced back up to it, and now we've stayed above it. Not only did we bounce right off of the 50% fib from that level, but that's also a VWAP that dates all the way back here to April 15th. Same exact VWAP level we bounced off of. So pretty confident on that bounce. So I really like what we saw on that bounce overall there today. Nice strong uptrend, great candle, finished at near the highs of the day. MACD's running higher, RSI is running higher. I'm not saying that we are all out of the woods. I'm still a little concerned, and I'm still being a little cautious out there. Okay. Yes, we're moving higher, but technically, if you're looking at this thing, okay, we are still in this downtrend. And even if we get back to this line and we roll over, we'll see what happens. We're going to have to break through that line. Now, we have broken through a bunch of these little resistance levels. I like the fact that the S&P is the 21 is still above the 50. We're now back above the 21. We're back above several anchored VWAP zones. MACD is running higher. RSI is running higher. I think that really sets us up for some nice, at least short-term trading, credit spreads, or whatever you want to do. I think you still right now take advantage of this bounce until you can't. So it's good until it's not. But overall, good trading. I think we've got decent support down here. Doesn't mean we can't go lower, but I really like what we see there. All right, oil. Oil on the day. So we had a Harami pattern here the other day. So a little bullish Harami pattern 2 days ago, which did not resolve to the upside because typically these are bullish patterns. Okay. Big down day yesterday. Today we did recover on oil. Another Harami pattern, which is this large bullish engulfing large candle with a small bodied bullish candle next to this bearish candle. Sorry. Kind of an inside day. Can be, again, a good indicator of a bullish move. We're going to see what happens. Do we reverse and move higher? I'm not 100% sold when you're looking at the weekly chart here on oil. There's nothing positive to hang your head on except, or at least hang your hat on, except the fact that we're getting really close to oversold levels. Does that mean catch the falling knife and try to play for the upside? It does not. However, I like both of these candles, even though we did not resolve yesterday. Let's see what tomorrow holds. If we start to tick up and get a couple days in a row of uptrend, I really like where oil is for a either a put credit spread, a 1-1-2 trade, which we did look at today, but we didn't get into. But what I did was I went with a very low risk, high reward trade, and I put on a call broken wing butterfly on oil today on CL futures. So a nice little short-term trade, 14 DTE, call broken wing butterfly. That's how I'm playing, maybe to see if we get a bounce. If not, we can't lose a ton. It's a low risk trade. If we start to recover a little bit more, I'm going to be looking at a 1-1-2 trade. I just need to be convinced that this candle here that we're seeing on the weekly might be a good reversal opportunity. We are not oversold yet. We're getting close. We're very close. I'm just not willing to risk it all with a 1-1-2 trade yet. However, I am sitting on a naked put that's 5 days old. That's now up in those 5 days. I've got that broken wing butterfly. It's pretty much flat from today. And we're also sitting on an older 1-1-2 that's pretty flat right now. So we're in pretty good shape on oil, considering what oil's been doing for weeks now and just falling out of bed. I like where we are on oil. So there's a good trade on oil. On gold, we're in this value area here that we just can't break out of to the upside or the downside. However, again, gold, you've got the 221-day moving average, and we're bouncing off of that, staying above that, moving higher. It's above the 50. MACD's reversing higher. RSI is moving higher. This is both on the dailies. The weekly chart is a little more maybe bearish, if you would. It's overbought. MACD's starting to tail off a bit. So we'll see how things go on gold. I'm a little cautious on gold. However, what I did was based upon the daily chart, not the weekly. And I have two different ways of playing credit spreads. I will either use the weekly chart or the daily. Okay. And the weekly chart, I'm going to go out a little bit further. I'm going to go out to like 75 to 90 days, maybe even 120, but most of the time, 75 to 90 days. If the daily chart's a good setup for what we're doing, then I'm going to stick around that 30 to 60 days, maybe 45 days sweet spot for put credit spreads. So we do have a put credit spread on gold. That thing is up now. It's 1 day old. We put it on yesterday. So I like where we are on that. Bonds. So bonds came down a little bit today. It's hard maybe for you to see. I can't really tell what you can see or not in here, but you can see on bonds that we've been just traveling on the upper end of the Bollinger Band. We cracked through it pretty good today, and we finished back inside. So based upon that, bonds might be taking a little bit of a breather. I love the fact that they might be taking a little bit of a breather. I'm still very bullish on bonds. I don't see any reason for bonds to collapse at this point in time. If the market starts to fall, I think there's a flight to safety to bonds. I think as rates come down, bonds should continue to be a stable force out there. So I do like bonds. I'd like to see a pullback maybe to this level on ZB. However, we did get long ZB today with a naked put. So we used this opportunity here to get into a naked put trade. I just want to be in it. I'm using the weekly chart, not the daily, the weekly chart here, using this as my guide. We're not overbought. We're still heading higher with RSI. MACD's heading higher. It's still in a bullish uptrend. The 21's above the 50. We're well above that. So I wanted to get into a naked put here. It's a little bit high on the RSI for me, but I still did a naked put here. I feel pretty good on this. And the naked put was at the 121 range, which is right here around the 21, or I'm sorry, the 200-day moving average here. And then you've got the 200 on the daily, as well as one of our VWAP, anchored VWAP zones. We're below all of that. I really like where we are. So another good trade. Hopefully, we'll see on bonds in there. We do have trades on ZN, which is a little bit more volatile right now, moving to the upside strongly. We're sitting here in trades. They're coming off. We just took another put credit spread off there. We've got copper futures. I like the copper futures here. I like the weekly chart. Okay. So I like the weekly chart on copper futures, but I also like the daily chart. The daily chart is improving, coming off the lows. MACD, RSI, both rising. The weekly looks pretty decent in here to keep moving forward. So what I wanted to do was actually, with Bollinger Bands pinching in, we did a put credit spread on copper back here 14 days ago. Right, so that's when we were a little bit higher up, but we're pretty much right at that same level. This trade's up 14% now in 14 days. Put credit spread there. So we've got a good handful of those on. I like Bitcoin as well. So let's take a quick look. Well, I'll hit one more trade before we jettison and move around. So I like the Aussie dollar here as well. It's just sitting in a perfect area for Strangles, in my opinion. Nice pullback to the downside, still hanging right around the 50 and the 21. RSI is sitting right at 50 and 46 on the weekly and the daily. I think it's a perfect Strangle setup. Okay, at least good enough to go with here. I like the fact that volatility is increased on it. So we did get a new Strangle trade on the Aussie dollar. So there's a bunch of the trades that I put on recently. And then the last piece here is Bitcoin as well. And I'm going to use MicroStrategy as a potential. But if we're looking at Bitcoin itself here, I like where Bitcoin is. I mean, frankly, I like this setup. When you look at where Bitcoin is laying, it's holding this 382 fib pretty strongly. Okay, it has really not closed below it, maybe a fraction a week ago, but that's it. So it's holding this 382 fib pretty well. Okay. 21 is still above the 50. RSI is still rising and lower. Okay, I think it's got all the upside potential in the world. Can it go lower? Absolutely. Okay, the daily chart starting to really improve, getting back to the 21. Daily chart's not exactly where I want it to be, but the weekly is. So I think longer term, I like where we are on that. And MicroStrategy is a really good way, in my opinion, to play that. So I think this gives you a good opportunity to play Bitcoin out there. And that's how we're playing it right now with MicroStrategy. And we're doing this through call spread as well. So we got a put credit spread here. I think the weekly is not a bad looking chart. It's really a lot of sideways. 21 still above the 50. It's MicroStrategy staying above its 50. We might be reversing higher now, MACD and RSI, and then the daily looks pretty good as we move higher. We're going to be running into some resistance, so we'll see how we do here. But I think we've got good support levels below the 200 and as well as the 3 ATR band. So I like where we are on MicroStrategy. Okay, let's take a quick look at our trades, show you where we are. Okay. So here's where we finished today. So yesterday, as I mentioned, a great day. We booked over $4,000 in profit yesterday. Delta's at 366 today, 883 on theta. We moved up to 350 now. So we are back to the 350 mark, almost the highest we've been since really that day in August where we dropped down. So we're doing well above that here. And then BP usage, that seems high on my BP usage. I thought it was lower. Maybe I grabbed the wrong number. Yeah, it's 192,604. Yeah, that's right. So 192,498 was the end of the day. So we're sitting at 45% buying power without our bill there. Yeah, we only booked 46 bucks today to the good because we did close a covered call. The reason for that is I wanted to let the underlying run a little bit more, which was on TLT. So it's all good. Strategic move there. I'm okay taking a little bit of a loss on the covered call because that means the underlying asset moving higher. All right, I'll share with you briefly my credit spread trade strategy. And let's wrap this up for you. But I like a trending chart. I'm looking at the MACD rising. I want to see the 21 over the 50. and I would like to see both rising if possible. I'd also like to see the PSAR in the same direction as the trend. So if the 21's over the 50, we should be in a bullish trend. If the 50 is rising, we should be in a bullish trend. If the 200's rising, we should be in a bullish trend. If the PSAR is bullish, we should be in a bullish trend. All of these things give me essentially what that trend is, and then I want to see RSI rising and then either bouncing off of support or moving up from those oversold levels. I will change my DTE on these based upon the chart setups. If the weekly chart looks great, then I'm going to look for the 75 to 90 DTE on the weekly. If the daily chart is the best setup, then I'll look for 30 to 60. If they're both the same, you really take your pick as to which way you want to go and what you already have working. And then typically I'm a little different, but I sell a little bit lower delta. I'm going to sell around 12 to 14 delta if they're shorter term trades, like the 30 to 60. And then I'll go a little bit even deeper potentially if I'm doing the 75 to 90 DTE trades. I do not trade the tasty trade method. So don't post those here that, oh, Tom, you're too far out. You're using the wrong deltas. Your DTEs are too long. No, it works perfectly fine. Okay. The farther out you get from 60 DTE to 90 to 120, you have a larger chance. Okay. And historically, the historical volatility or the implied volatility is higher than the realized. Okay. The closer you go, 30, 45 days, okay, the implied volatility is not higher than the realized, which means the longer term trade, you have a better chance, okay, of decay and a win because your implied volatility is typically much higher than the realized volatility out at 90 days and 120. So that's why my strangles are at 90 days. I don't do 45 DTE. I will if the daily chart's set up, okay, but I'll also go those longer term trades because they decay pretty doggone quickly. My 90 DTE trades typically will close at 50% in about 30 days. Okay. My 45 DTE trades close in about 21 days. Okay. Well, I can go 9 days out, give myself more credit, a little safer, more time to be right, and it only costs me an extra 9 days to hit a better profit. So that's what I like. With my spreads, I look to get about 25% credit to my buying power if I can, which can give me at least hopefully a 30% return on investment if I go. And I typically size these pretty small, less than 1% of my net lick. My profit target's around 50%. My stop loss is usually 2.5 credit, which puts me at about 150% loss versus a 2x stop, which typically you see on some of these others, right? So that's what we're looking at. I do have some trades on today just to give you a sense of what I traded today, or a sense of some of the things we're looking for. I'm going to wrap this up in 2 minutes for you. So let's look at 2 quick trades, and then we'll be done. All right. I'm not going to have time to go through the charts, but you guys can do this on your own. One of the trades was ARM. I like ARM. I think it's a solid stock. It had a big day today, but we got in on ARM with the trade today. We did that around 45 DTE in our account, on our main active trader trading account. So I would look out here somewhere around like the 110, 105-ish range, something like that. That would be my put credit spread. I like the daily chart. I think the daily and the weekly charts on ARM both look good. So we have trades on in ARM. I'm also looking at Tesla here. And you're thinking, Tom, you don't like stocks. Well, we take a look at some. Obviously, futures is where we want to be. And I've already given you all the futures put credit spread. So I'm giving you a couple other things. I really like where Tesla is sitting right now. So if I'm looking at Tesla, the daily chart perfectly matches what I'm looking for. 21 above the 50, or bullish PSAR, MACD rising, and the RSI below 60 but rising. I want that RSI lower, like the 55 level or so. So I think Tesla sets up nicely on the daily. It's not bad on the weekly either. I think the daily looks pretty good. I know we got earnings coming up, but I would probably, again, look to go out to something around the 14 delta and probably put a trade on between like the 185, 180. That 185 puts us below the 21, the 50, the 200, the anchored VWAP. It puts us below the Bollinger Bands, and it puts us all the way down at the 3 ATR level. Okay, I like that. Does it mean we can lose? Can't lose? No, we can certainly lose on that trade, but I like that. You could potentially go a little bit higher too if you want to go maybe the 20, maybe the 20 delta or something like that as well, if you want to generate a little bit more premium on it and give yourself a little bit better opportunity. So Tesla's one. I like Meta as well. So if we look at Meta, same type of thing applies here. It's a pretty good setup on the daily chart. Okay. You got earnings coming up, but we can go right past earnings. Take a look at maybe the 20-ish delta, something around there. You're getting about 25%. You could go a little bit lower if you want to, which would be typically my plan around the 45 days. The 455, 400 or 450 is a good looking opportunity here. Wide bid ask, market's closed, so you can't really give you a good showing on it right now, but you guys get the point on Meta. I'm also looking at potentially Netflix, Palantir, Adobe, and Costco all here. So those are all trades on the stock side that I'm looking at. And I already gave you my futures trades. We're looking at gold. We're looking at potentially Strangles on silver, Strangles on the Aussie dollar. We're looking at credit spreads and naked puts on bonds. And I'm also looking right now at the butterfly on oil, but I may also start to add a 112 and some credit spreads on oil. All right, hopefully these were helpful tips. Gives you an idea of what we're trading. Had a great day today. Big up day in our account overall. And hopefully this was helpful to you. If you like it, please click the like button down below. I really would appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the channel here and follow along with what I'm doing. Give you a sense of how I'm trading. If you find some value in it, great, and it helps you, awesome. If not, watch me trade, find out what I'm doing, see if this maybe makes sense for you. Have a great rest of your evening, folks. Take care, stay safe. Bye-bye.